Hello and welcome to the Dumonted Pod. I am your host, Rick Dumont. And on this show, I get to talk to some very fascinating and inspiring and brilliant people. And on today's episode, I get to talk to a wonderfully talented young woman. She's an actor, she's a model, she is a very wildly smart person. We had a great conversation on set of over a course of a couple of days when we were doing a project down in Newport, Rhode Island. She was modeling. Of course, I was not. I was PA for the project. But Katy O'Kane, thank you so much for being here.
Hi, Rick. Thank you for having me.
Yeah,
It's
absolutely.
been a while since we have been able to see each other.
Yeah, how you been? Like,
I've been busy.
yeah.
I've been super busy, and I'm very grateful. But
What have you been working on?
I have been doing a lot of modeling lately.
Yeah.
I feel like everyone says you just need to strike while the iron's hot in that department. So I'm just kind of taking all the jobs, and since I cut my hair,
Yeah, looks great.
thank you. I've been getting a lot of new clients, which is
Nice.
amazing.
I'm not
Um,
surprised. I mean, given how beautiful you are and how poised and in that model world,
oh, thank you.
you really crushed it those days. That
I
we worked
saw some
together.
pictures from that, and they
Oh,
look
did
really
you?
good. Yeah, I did, and I was like, oh yeah, these turned out so awesome.
Nice.
Our fake little family I had a husband, and I had a 12-year-old, which would be crazy. Wait,
Right.
can you hear that when it dings?
That
Can
was
you hear
you?
that text message? It was, but I'm
Okay.
gonna make sure it turns off. I got a new computer, so I'm like, how do I turn off the?
Yeah.
Oh, there we
I had a problem with my computer this morning where my
go.
cats like to jump up on my desk. So I have some
Oh, I love that.
anti cat device spiky
Oh,
things, but the buggers knocked them off my desk and then proceeded to pounce all over my keyboard
oh, they don't
to the
care. They're
point.
like,
No,
screw you, Dad.
and for a little while, I couldn't type anything, and I had no
Oh,
idea how to fix my computer, and I'm like, oh my god, freaking out because I had to talk with you, and I'm just like,
oh yeah, it's okay. I was putting on makeup because I realized I was just like
yeah,
not
you're
presentable,
gorgeous.
but that's okay.
Yeah, you're gorgeous. So
Oh,
yeah,
thanks.
I was able to reboot the computer because that the old turn it off, turn it back on, it always works, right?
Oh yeah, yeah.
So back to you for a minute because we don't need to talk about the cat being pains and butts.
Although I love cats.
Um, me too. How many you got? Or do you have any?
I don't. I'm actually very allergic.
Oh
Um,
wow.
but so I don't really understand cats because I never could have them because they would like totally give me an asthma attack and I'd have to go
Mm-hmm.
to the ER as a kid. But I wish I could understand cats because they are cute. Like I'm starting
I
to get older and be like, oh yeah, they are really cute.
Well, I'll tell you, I used to be very allergic to them too, and I would have asthma attacks. But yet I would still play with my friends' cats and fight with them and stuff. I'd come home with like scratches all over my hands, and then they'd
Oh,
blow
scratches
up, and I'd
turn into hives.
yes,
Yeah.
and asthma attack.
Oh,
But when I met my partner, she had a flame point Himalayan that basically cured
oh,
me of allergies, and now we have five, and all different kinds of cats, and I have no allergy whatsoever.
I'm gonna
It's
need
really
you to
weird.
dive into that with me later because
Yeah, it's. I mean, it's. I don't know. Yeah, I'll tell you what. I mean, it's kind of a funny story that's more suited for off camera than on camera.
even though I think people love it.
Right, but yeah, I've become anti allergic to cats, and
I need
it's
that.
wonderful.
So allergic.
But they're so cool. I mean, I love them. I'm looking at my black cat who's sleeping right now. Her name
Oh,
is Vala.
oh,
For those out there familiar with Stargate, um, we had three cats that were named after Stargate characters.
that's so
You know,
sweet.
yeah. But anyway, so you're back to you.
Oh, right.
Um, yeah. So were you a model first or an actor first or what? Like, how did this process? How did you get into this process?
Um, so I started, what was I first? I mean, So I grew up here in the San Fernando Valley in Studio
Mhm.
City, in LA, and I always kind of felt this because I was surrounded by, I guess actors and just performers and, like
The arts.
Sugar Ray performed at our school festival every year because,
Wow.
the dude's kid was donating, or no, sorry, not donating. He went to our school, so he would like always donate and like do the shows.
Mhm.
And so the environment was very Hollywood. And which is funny because my dad's a lawyer and my mom was like an Americana roots artist.
Oh wow.
So there was some crossover with the artistic art, like with the arts there with my mom. And my dad was in a band. He was a drummer for a while. But I think as a kid, I wanted to be an actor really bad, but I was too shy and scared to try that.
Mhm.
I would try classes, and basically, I was just trying to get out of my shell, and I was so scared. I don't know what it was, because when I was with my friends alone, I was so myself, but then when I would get into a class, I think I was, like, 11 when my mom put me in a class because I said, "I wanna be an actor," because
Yeah.
I started watching Hannah Montana, and I thought that could be me.
Sure. Or at
As
least her sidekick there. What's her
Oh,
name?
yeah, every 10-year-old was obsessed with Hannah Montana.
Oh yes, my daughter was as well.
Yeah,
And
so
my,
you
we watched that show. I mean, it was
yeah,
actually
it's
entertaining.
pretty good TV. I mean, my dad watched
Yeah.
it too, and my mom. So that was like a short-lived kind of like dream because I just realized it made me too uncomfortable. So acting technically was always like in the forefront of my mind. I just think that I
Mhm.
I had a lot of fear as a little kid and you know, for some reason. And when I was in 8th grade was when I was discovered at the mall in the valley. I think it was June. It was like right after 8th grade graduation. And I was at the mall with my friends. And I think my mom was taking us because, you know, couldn't drive,
Yeah.
obviously. And my mom was with us, and I was with one of my best friends. And we were going out the parking lot, like, just leaving the mall, and this lady comes running up after us, and she's out of breath, and she's like, "Hi, I've just saw you, leaving the mall," and we were kinda like, "Oh, this is, like, a little weird," and, um, there's all you hear all those kinds of scams happening, especially in LA, because all of the agencies are here in,
Sure.
like, New York and Chicago or whatever, but a lot of them are here, and we've like dabbled in kind of maybe thinking about doing this. And then a lady came up to me and my mom, and we were like, no, like this, you're running up to us. This feels like it has to be a scam. And then she like pulled out her business card, and it was Ford models. And
Oh
my mom,
wow.
oh, yeah, you know what?
We've heard of you.
I've heard of my mother being very well versed in like Ford models back with like Eileen Ford and all the things back in the day where it first started. She was very aware. So
Mhm.
she was like, okay, yeah, we'll take a meeting. And then after that, I think I turned 14 and I
And
started.
great that you had a lawyer in the family too, because I even
Yeah,
though was he an entertainment lawyer or has he
no,
practiced?
but he was able to look over contracts and like
Yeah.
check out for
And
any
have that
bumps.
right there for you. That's
Yeah,
awesome.
that was helpful, and he was super supportive of that. And then basically, um, it was just super fun. I mean, through high school, I would do, like, random jobs. I got to go to, Nantucket to shoot Abercrombie with Bruce Weber when I was 16. That was crazy, and I, like, missed school for 5 days, which was crazy. I did
Yeah.
homework in, the little hotel that they put us up in, and I was always doing homework just, like, everywhere with my mom, and she would kind of be my sidekick person that came along with me, and we had a lot of fun. And there was lots of cities, lots of places that I went with her, and then once I turned 18, I went without her, and it was a total journey, and it's been almost 15 years now, which is crazy because
He's like a
it's
grizzled
totally
old veteran.
I feel like one. If you can tell by my eye bag, I feel like one.
No, but
Although
that's phenomenal that you've been able to build that and sustain it for. quite some time, into from like
Yeah,
childhood into adulthood, even, which
yeah. I
doesn't always
consider,
happen. Is that true? Or I mean,
yeah, I think it was I mean, I don't know if I would want to redo it again, like starting that early. I think it kind of made high school a little bit funky when you're kind of trying to fit in, and I was, you're at a new school. Um, but I always kind of did my own thing, and um,
was it
it
a benefit in that sense? I know you talk about the awkwardness, but was there a benefit at all to being in a school in LA where
oh
it's
yeah.
kind of half expected that people, I would imagine, the stereotypes anyway, that as those who don't live there
Yeah.
look at LA going, oh, they're all Hollywood kids,
Yeah.
um,
It was
versus like say Tulsa,
yeah, yeah, yeah. It was kind of it was still kind of unexpected, which I think is funny because it's a particular part of LA where I went to high school that was like it's up in Topanga Canyon. I went to an all-girls
love
private
Topanga
Catholic
Canyon.
school. It was a stunning campus. I mean,
I
you
bet.
ate lunch outside every day. You were in the trees. It was very small, so you just felt like, I don't know, it felt kind of like a family vibe. And I sometimes do wish that I kind of had like more stability in being in school full time like all my other friends were able to be. But at the same time, I would get such a rush because this was what I wanted to be doing. I loved being on set. Like I loved being on set. I just knew that I liked it, whether it was acting or modeling. And I think over time being on those sets for modeling, it like created that shell that I felt like I wanted to break out of, and then it was like, "Okay, well, what's my potential in acting then?" Like, imagine what now I felt comfortable after years of talking to people that were always in their 30s or older when I was 15. I mean, people were twice my age. I grew up very quickly and, like, I hesitate to say mature because I still feel like I'm a 12-year-old in my head,
Me
but, like,
too.
matured in a way, that was like, "Okay, this is how you act in front of people, this is how you are on set, this is what's unprofessional, this is what's
Sure.
professional," like, all those kinds of things, which, um, was just really cool. I mean, I don't know, I felt like it was my own Hannah Montana because I would, like, go to school, be regular, and then I'd, like, go do Abercrombie in Nantucket with Bruce Weber, and it was, like it was so fun to
It's
kind of do
wild.
both.
Yeah, I can
What
imagine. I mean, like
question?
the fact that
I went off.
sorry,
I don't
the
know what
fact
the question was.
you answered it, I think.
Okay.
No, you definitely answered it. I forget
Sorry,
what
viewers.
I was specifically asked about the oh, it was about just being in high school in LA versus
Yeah.
like somewhere else in the country that isn't
Oh,
known
yeah.
for
It was
uh
still weird though to people, like,
renowned,
it was girls were always like, "Oh my god, like, what's it like? What's it like?" And I think it was removed from, like, proper LA, like, if I had grown up in Los Feliz where, or, like, East Hollywood, it would be more expected, or, like, if I'd gone to one of the more bougie schools like Campbell Hall where, like, all the famous, like, kids of famous people go, I feel like
Sure.
it would be different, but, like, there was not a lot of that at my school, so I think it was a little like, "Whoa."
Well, did you grow up Catholic to end up in a Catholic school, or are you one of those
I
people that
did.
went to Catholic schools?
I did. I grew up in Catholic school since preschool through high school. Um, and, that was definitely interesting. Um,
Yeah, I
and
can imagine.
yeah, and then I'm like, I don't even know what I would say about it because I haven't thought about it in so long. But I'm not really practicing any particular religion now.
Mhm.
I'm in, like, other spiritual programs and stuff, but it
Which
definitely
we need to dive into because that's fascinating to me. Because like
Oh,
you,
yeah.
I grew up Catholic. I haven't been since I was molested by priests and just went through all that process.
Oh, you did
Um,
you grew up Catholic as well. Yeah, it
yes,
was,
but definitely much more
problematic.
of a spiritualist. Like, and I'll give you an example. Like, do you listen to, or how do you feel, or do you feel any like connections to like the Native American spiritualisms in this country at all?
Definitely feel drawn to it.
And
Speak on it because I don't know a lot, but like
yeah,
it
same.
sounds stupid, but it's definitely something that has been more, especially in California. I feel like on the West Coast, it's like I really want to kind of explore
Well,
those possibilities
yeah,
and spiritual.
I mean, there's a wonderful energy, and I asked the question because you mentioned being spiritual, and I wanted to tell you that this morning, I went out to a networking event for the local chamber of commerce that I'm a member of,
Oh, cool.
and yeah, it was fascinating because it was an LGBTQ plus
Yeah.
positive event, so it was really cool to be there because you saw a whole bunch of different business people that you don't necessarily always come out into the mainstream
Yeah.
chambers. Wow. But as I was leaving my driveway and upon my return to my driveway, I had two songs playing from my Pandora. Yes, I know that's a bit of a dinosaur, but screw you people. I like Pandora. Sponsor me.
Yeah.
But two songs from Robbie Robertson. Right? Are you familiar with Robbie Robertson?
Yes.
At all?
Yes.
When he dove into his native roots, he cut several albums, and I had one of his songs pop up and start playing on my way there, and then on my way home, another one popped in the cycle, rode me right back to my driveway. So it was like I was bookended by this beautiful music of his.
What songs were they?
One was Skinwalker.
Uh-huh.
And the other was, I can't remember the title. I'm going to look it up real quick. I usually don't pay attention to titles, but Coyote Dance. Sorry.
Oh, nice.
So Skinwalker and Coyote Dance. Coyote Dance led me away from my house, and Skinwalker led me back, and it was so cool,
like magical.
Yes, and I am a tree hugger, but in real life, that's one of my connections. Like I'll talk to the trees and the bees and everybody else, but
I love that. I just started running. My boyfriend laughs when I say this. I went on like my first run, like a real run the other day, and I felt so awesome after, and even a little bit during, even though it was hard. And I went on a run because I live like in an area with lots of trees, and it was beautiful. And then I ran last night as well, and I just felt like it was so calming, and I broke a sweat, which is nice. I mean, I don't always work out like that, so it was nice just to I ran like 2.5 miles and around the trees, awesome. And it felt awesome.
Wait, so you went from like 0 running to 2 miles of running?
Yeah, that's kind of my personality.
That's badass.
It can be good and bad. I mean, I want to keep it up because that's why my boyfriend laughs, because I think he's just like, okay, you ran once, and then I'll talk about it for like 3 days. I'll be like, oh man, I'm a runner now. Like I think I got
I gotta go get the sneakers for it.
Yeah, I was like, oh well, I run and I do Pilates, and my partner's like, you ran once, and I was like, I know. But then I ran last night, and I ran like almost consecutively for 2.4 miles, and I was like, oh, that's almost consecutively. I had to walk a little bit because I was getting like those like pains in your stomach.
Sure. But still, I'm blown away that you were able to start like essentially from scratch as a runner and not like lean into and work your way up to 2 miles.
Think
2 miles is a long way to run.
You would think that you would build it up, because then I couldn't really walk for 2 days because it hurt bad. So maybe
because like you on Nantucket, I was on Nantucket a couple months ago on a film project, and as an actor, and I every morning before I went to set, I would go out and run. Like I would walk like 4 miles and then run like kind of like wind sprints in between telephone poles, because I
Yeah.
know that telephone poles are like 100 feet, I think
Mhm.
they are. And so I would do like 2 telephone poles and then have to walk again, and then do another
Oh,
two
I
telephone
love
poles and have to walk again. But I had to walk because I was just like,
Oh,
dying. So I'm impressed that you were able to come like start and go 2 miles.
I tried. It's kind of my go-to is just, like, trying new things and then just seeing what works. I think that's part of just getting older too, is, like, what is working in my life now and what's not working, and just trying to get through life. I'm like,
Yeah,
"Okay, I think running is nice for me right now." Maybe it won't be a thing for me in a few months or something, but I'm like, "You know what? It feels nice after
it
7
feels
o'clock.
nice to do it.
The sun goes down, the breeze is out because it's so hot over here right now."
Mm,
Um, I'm like, "Why not?" You know?
sure, absolutely. I love that you do that. And going back to the career for a moment, one of the things that kind of blew me away when I was working on set with you was I hadn't known, or at least I thought I knew, but I was very surprised that I didn't know about what goes into being a model for photo shoots
Mm,
for like the clothing line that you were doing, was the amount of action that was involved.
right.
Like, oh, it was like you were making a film, but it was all still photography, or mostly still photography.
Yeah,
Where like riding the bikes and the camera and camera guys like running alongside and different things
right.
like that. Like that. I always expected to be more pose, like strike a pose. Madonna has
Yeah.
and,
I
and it
think
was
it's
just twistings and turnings, but it was all fluid. There was a lot of fluidity going on, which I thought was cool.
yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, it's funny because in the beginning, I was obviously quite frozen when I started. It took years to kind of learn that fluidity
Mm,
and what clients want, and really, they just want you to keep moving, and when you're with a good photographer, they just get the shot while you're moving. Um, and it's not the same as, like, video, because then when I'm in a video mindset, I'm delivering a whole other way. It's very
mm,
strange, but it is
okay,
fluid and looks video-like, as if I was, acting or, like, doing movement in a video, but it's still calculated. I don't know. And then with a video, it's calculated, but in a different way. It's more
okay,
specific to, because you're just selling a product, right? So it's always about the product and making sure that your face isn't too far back, and, like, when they say move your face a little to the right, they really mean, like, a centimeter, because I
mm,
used to, like, move a whole foot, and they really mean, like, just a hair, uh,
right.
or, like, take a step to your right. They don't mean always, like, an entire foot. They just mean, like, a little bit. I don't know. It's always, like, a little less, um,
A little less than what you first think
less
it
is
was supposed to
more.
be. Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't know,
Yeah,
it's
that's not that dissimilar than film in that sense.
yeah, yeah,
But
yeah, yeah.
but I get where you're going, like in terms
That's true.
of creating, because again, it also impressed me that I also thought, like, being a model, you're acting, you're performing, right?
Right,
Because
yeah.
you're creating the character that you're portraying within the confines of what you're doing for the
Mhm.
wardrobe that you're wearing, or the clothing that you're wearing, or the jewelry, or whatever it is.
Yeah.
So it's somewhat similar to acting, because you're not necessarily being yourself, right?
No, definitely. Um,
But it's not as is it as involved? Like, you're talking with your husband and child there out on set.
no,
Is that
we
it, how do you play that versus playing it as an actor, as a character
it's
in
not that
film?
dissimilar. You're right, it's not that dissimilar. It's just obviously, still, so it's not like active conversation or dialogue. Of course, there's still a story. I mean, the story is
Mhm.
you guys are, having, lunch on the lawn, and there's the dog, and there's the friends, and then so and so's the son, and then that's the daughter, and that's the husband, and, you guys are drinking and just hanging out. So you have to create a narrative in your head and, like, also tailoring to the brand, which is, like, very lifestyle, but also like real people and happy and like um just like good vibes. So
Right.
it is performing because you don't always feel that way. I mean, that day I
True.
felt super happy because the weather was amazing. We were with great people, but sometimes when I'm getting off of a plane and it's, 7 AM and I just came from the airport and I'm just like stuck in front of the camera, it is performing because it's like,
Sure.
okay, I have to turn this on somehow. Like I have to from the depths of my soul, I have to smile. And it's always my favorite days with clients that ask for more minimal movement or they don't want smiles, like they just want like how you
Like
look.
the catwalk kind of
Kind of,
look.
yeah. And so I'm like, okay, well, if it's the smiley brand, today's gonna be a little bit more intense for me. So I always
Right.
like, gear up to that depending on how much sleep I got. And like, I remember that shoot, it was really fun, but the time change of LA to Rhode Island was like I got in kind of late. So then the next morning you're just totally out of it because it's really like
Sure.
4 a.m. here. I mean 4 a.m. there.
There.
Like, if I wake up at 7 to go to set or, like, if I wake up at 6 there to go to set, I'm just totally delirious because it's 3 AM here. So I'm like, "What?" I'm like, "Whoa, okay." And they're like, "Alright, Smiles, you are with your 12-year-old daughter, and this is your husband, and this is your dog, and you're having the best day ever." And you're just like, "Okay, cool. I just gotta do it." And, I think
Where do you find that? Where do you find the inner
I don't
um
know. I don't know.
like
I think I'm genuinely a happy person, like,
mhm,
I have a lot of reasons to be smiling on set. It's a great job, it's a great time, it's fun people and people coming from, the other model I think came from Germany or something, and, another model came from New York. It's like we all have walks of life that are different, and so, um, that is fun in itself, and you're just like, I get to hang
sure.
out with these people all day, and I have to throw in a few smiles. It's just so refreshing, and those days are really fun because 'cause you're like, "Well, why wouldn't I be smiling?" Like, I get off work in, like, 4 hours, and we're all gonna, like, go to a crew dinner, and it's gonna be fun. I don't know. It's just like
Yeah.
we
No,
walk
I understand. It's well, you're doing what you love, right? And that's
that's the
and and
difference, is
and I
definitely
think
the difference.
like me too. Like from my perspective, I've noticed like I always loved being in front of the camera, right? And
Yeah,
doing the performing elements. But the more I get into the behind the scenes stuff, the more I love it. And I love, I mean, being assisting the production was amazing because I get to meet you, and we got
yeah,
to have this conversation and meeting all these other people and just that the creative energy that we all brought to that
yeah,
project. It was just you could feel it,
and
and it
everyone has
was
a purpose, and without them, there wouldn't be a chunk of the project done.
no,
So, it doesn't
and
matter if
it
you're
would be different energies as well. Like
yeah,
if that person wasn't like if you weren't there, then it would have been maybe somebody else, but it would have been a different kind of vibe. Or if I
yeah,
was, but there's always and then, but when the right people are together, that right
yeah.
mix, it's
Like,
always
when they wanna chat or, like, they're not, like, weird or something, I don't know, sometimes you just get on set and you're like, "Okay, I don't always wanna talk," or, like, they wanna get your number or they're, like, weird and you're like, I'm here to work now," but, like, you just messed
right,
the vibe up. But, like, you were just, like I mean, most people that are, like, doing the Sprinter vans, doing all, like, the hard work for the production to happen, like, those are the people you respect the most, and then they're also if they're cool, you're like, "Oh my god, this is so fun because 'cause you're just, like you're with them all day driving around to
right,
wherever you need to be, and, like, you're just like, "How is this our job?" I mean, I love my job so much, so how I'm, like, smiling and, like, hanging out in my outfit, and I'm like, "Hey, Rick," like, "Blah, blah, blah," and I just met you, and I'm like we call each other by first names, you're just kind of
right.
like we're with each other just
It had been like we were friends for like 15 years,
yeah,
like instantly,
that
like
happens
boom,
so
like oh my
much.
god,
I
that's
know,
so cool when it does. And
yeah.
so going, do you prefer now? How many movies and have you performed on stage? But how many movies have you been in
Um, it's
recently
been
or of late?
well, as I'm sure people know, Hollywood's been totally feeling like it's on pause lately for a multitude of reasons, but I was lucky enough that 2 summers ago, I was the lead in a film called Purple that has been in post-production for a while. I think it's finally being scored right now. Um, and that they were like, "That's the final piece. We want it to be absolutely perfect." Uh, because that kinda makes the whole film. Editing and I think
Oh, 100%. I will tell you this, like, when I went through and I learned this during the post-production of my second feature that I directed,
uh,
that I had to watch it with the editor, like, I don't know, 50, 60, 80 times, whatever it was. It was a lot, going back and forth with him about making adjustments and stuff like that.
mhm,
And after a while watching it, I'm like, God, this movie sucks. It's boring.
God,
It's supposed to be this thriller horror movie, and I'm just like,
you're dreading
and
it.
I'm dying until my composer scored it, and I watched it and went, ooh, it comes to life.
Oh, it totally
Like
could.
really brings it back out, and the colors back out, and it makes it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
so I get it. You have to have
It
the right
really
music.
it brings in the heartstrings, it pulls at heartstrings, it
Mhm.
makes you involved, I mean, music is everything to me as well, so I did that, and then, um, I did a short film kind of during the pandemic, like, a while ago that got pretty far in the Independent Shorts Festival, which is exciting, and I
Nice.
got to go see the screening, which was cool, it's super funny, my friend directed it. And then I've done, like, commercials and stuff, and
So
then I'm
can this film, the short film, be seen by people, like people
I
listening? Can they
think
watch it?
so. It's called,
That's We could put
Bad
it in the
at
links.
Small Talk. It's
Bad at
called
small talk.
Bad at Small Talk, and it's directed and written by my friend Victor, Horvath, and he's from Hungary, and he's a genius.
I know that name. Why do I know
Really?
that? Because he's a
He
genius, probably. But why
he's
do I
so
know that
good.
name?
He's done so many amazing, like, films and shorts, and he also does music videos, and we wanna work together on one of my music videos, but so, yeah, that short's awesome, and then I'm also filming a new short, I think next month, that's gonna be more of a drama, which is exciting, and I'm playing, like, a younger girl who's, like, comes from a very broken home, and I think it'll be interesting for me to play that because I just think that's
Is
always,
this
like
something you wrote or no?
this is not something I wrote, but
Okay,
they booked me through my acting agent, which was fun,
gotcha.
and I'm just
And
really
you kind
excited.
of just glossed a little bit over your music video.
Oh, yeah.
What's this about?
Well, I always gloss over it because I feel like I'm always like, "Yeah, I do that," but I do music, and I need to be more, you know, forward with that because it's such a
Yeah.
big part of my life, and it's
Are you up on what kind of music and what do you write about? And like, talk to me about that.
I so
Because
I'm writing I'm in the process of, you know, kind of rewriting a project that I was going to put out probably a year like 2 years ago. I was like, "Okay, I have a good chunk of songs. I think I have an idea of what the project I want is going to be," and then I lost somebody very close to me that was my cousin, and it was very hard, and that was a year ago, um, around a year ago now, and it totally changed my life and changed my perspective, and she was also a runner, so I think she's been speaking to me so much about
Mhm.
running, like, I don't have any other reason I wanted to run other than I truly believe that she picked my legs up and made me run.
I can see that
Um,
happening.
like, I
Sure.
think after a year passed, I finally felt like she was here, because it was a very hard few years, before, but I won't get too personal, but it was very
I know
difficult
it's fine.
for me and my
Sorry.
family, and so that though in itself, I mean, for those few years, I wrote a lot about her. I had a few songs already about our relationship, and she was like my best friend. She's like my sister. And
Mhm.
so now I have like an entire project basically about that relationship and being 27 and just the harsh realities of when you don't have the perfect, storybook uh kind of life. I don't think anybody does, but
Nobody
um
does.
I
Yeah.
think it's like as you get older, you just being a musician helps to just cope with it and also gives
Well,
me a
you have that wonderful outlet
yeah,
to kinda, like, vomit out, scream out all your emotions
seriously, yeah.
into some sort of cohesive story or song or
Yeah.
however you describe it.
And so I am working on another song right now with my producer, Ryan Hughes. He's amazing. And then also my partner, Johannes Berger, he co-produces and also like co-writes with me because he kind of knows me so well.
Sure.
He's like an amazing producer and writer. So he can say the things that I'm trying to say, but like kind of bring them back into like a songwriting form because I don't always know he went to school for it and everything. So he's like very good and like technical and like he's a
Then
musical genius to me. So it helps me be like, I feel this way, but why can't I get it to be melodic or blah blah blah? And he will like kind of manipulate it and be like, okay, what if you said this? And
mhm.
he'll just like get those punchlines that are so good.
That's a
Uh,
great co-writing producer partnership,
Yeah,
sounds
and
like.
we just have a lot of fun, and he did my song that's out now on Spotify that I put out I think in January I put it out. It's called Pavement,
Okay.
and,
Is it a
I
tribute to the band, Pavement?
No, I know everyone asks me that, and I'm like, "Oh, I need to check this band out."
Right? I
But
mean, they do have to if you haven't heard of Pavement, you should check them out, but yeah.
okay, I will. Well, everyone was telling me I need to, and I was like, "Okay,
Oh, I
maybe
thought
I'll."
you yeah. Oh, no, you do. You should. They were
Yeah.
very, very good.
Oh, love. I need to check them out.
Groundbreakers. Groundbreakers.
Oh, okay.
So stylistically, how would you describe your music?
Um,
Like
I'd say I
punk,
pull
pop
a lot.
punk?
I definitely not punk, but, like,
Okay.
folky,
Oh, that's
and
right. You went to school in the Canyon, so
I did, and my mother is from and this is, like, always kind of blows
Laurel?
people.
Don't say Laurel Canyon.
No, she's from Yosemite National Park.
Oh, wow.
So she's totally mountain,
Right on.
one with nature, and,
So a lot
of
of
course, we
bluegrassy stylings in there
kind
too?
of, yeah, like, I
Yeah,
love, slide guitar, I love guitar, just guitar,
mhm.
anything, more just acoustic guitar,
Mandolin?
mandolin,
Now do you play all these instruments too, or you what like
I don't, but I have people that I, like, trust with everything to play.
sure.
Also, like, my mom's producer when she was performing and she has 3 albums, she has her producer that, played a lot of the guitar that's on my song that's out. So that was really amazing to have her, like, guitar
That
player and
happened.
producer, like, in my song. That was just, like, such a crossover.
Yeah,
Uh,
that's
and
awesome.
he's amazing. His name's Ed Tree, and, um, he brought it to life. I mean, he did, like, Slide, he did, what else did he do? Oh, I also had my friend play harmonica on the song. There's lots of instruments that just bring you back to that nostalgic feeling, and, my partner also had, like, the original audio from some videos of my cousin and I, mixed into the song that, like, you wouldn't really know unless you knew her or knew me. So that's, like, something that's, like, an Easter egg for me that feels so beautiful, and I also wrote the song before she had passed away, which always is, just so crazy how, um, you can just really have a feeling and, like, you just know,
Mhm,
like, when you need to write, and I just think that it was a very difficult song to write, but it also came to me in, like, an hour and a half and over FaceTime with Johannes. I was in
that's
New York,
cool.
and I was there for work, and I just wrote it. I got a guitar from a girl on Instagram. I just borrowed it for, like, 3 weeks, And then I wrote that song, and it was just like
That's
pure,
very
it was
cool.
just pure therapy. And then I
Now,
said, you know,
did you have the sound, the music first, or the lyrics first, or were you simultaneously kind of
I do
laying
both.
it out?
I write while I'm like playing the guitar. So I'm
Okay.
always like writing the chords and the music while I'm doing the lyrics. And I haven't found a different way of doing it yet because it works so well for
No, I
me.
mean, obviously, if it's working, you want it. I mean,
Yeah,
I've always been blown away by that because, like, I play a little bit of guitar myself,
yeah.
and I
Well, I'm sure.
and I'll just screw around and play. What's that?
I had a feeling you did.
But I'm only a 3 fret guitar player, so I'm not by any stretch. I'm like
That's okay.
only,
Me too.
but good enough for my back porch, But I'll
Yeah.
sit there and noodle around a little bit as best I can, and I'll come up with like and something will play out in my head, and I'm like, ooh, that's cool. But as soon as I'm done playing it, it's gone. Like I'm like, I don't even know what chords they are that I played in what
Yeah,
combination or whatever.
that
So
happens to
whatever it
me.
is, so I'm like, oh my god, you can write this stuff down and remember it. How like
Yeah.
that blows me away that you do that. You can do that.
Yeah, I have, like, my voice notes on when I do it, and I have to usually say, "You're playing this fret with this, you know, this hand here," so that I remember,
Mm,
or my partner always says, "Just film your
sneaky. I like that.
hand." Yeah, he says record everything, so I just record
Yeah.
literally everything. Even if I'm verbally saying, "Okay, C, I'm playing a G, I'm playing, you know, blah, blah,
Hmm.
blah." But, yeah,
That's a
we're
great
working
idea.
I think we're
I'm gonna
working.
borrow that.
Yeah, always record yourself. I mean, that was the best thing I learned, like, early on because I lost all my ideas, like, and I'd be so upset.
Mm,
Record everything and record yourself playing so you can see what your hand's doing.
sure.
Um, but yeah, I have a new song I'm working on that's almost done, and I think that at this point, I feel like I have enough songs to do an EP, so I'm
Ooh.
excited to do that, and I think that what's fun is I'm in a very, um blessed position to be able to do music in this way that's really just something I don't need to make money off of. Like, if
Hmm.
that were ever to happen, that'd be cool. I
See, that's kind of the way I feel about this podcast.
Yeah,
It's,
I think that
it's
we should just
doing
be
it
doing
for fun
things.
yeah,
I think that
creating
we're
content.
all kids in our hearts, and I think we need to really, um, excuse my French, fucking nourish that, and, like,
Yes.
we need to be
It's
paying
okay.
attention
You can
to that.
swear on this
I know.
podcast.
It's live TV.
There's
But I
no
guess
nuns with rulers that'll come running out here. So
I'm like, "It's not cute to swear, but whatever."
yeah.
It's not cute to do a lot of other less cute things, so it's fine. But,
Mm,
I'm passionate. So, yeah, I think that we need to nourish that, and I think trying everything and just doing it for fun, and also I know all my friends do music for a living, like, full time,
mm,
um, and they're, like, balancing different jobs, and they're trying to make it work, and I think that, um we're always all trying to find something that makes us feel like kids again, and I think even, like, going roller skating for fun
sure.
and doing the things that are just fun, going to the movies again, getting popcorn, like, there's just little
Oh
things that
yeah,
my
it's funny.
yeah.
Like my 6-year-old grandson had his birthday party the other day at a
Aw.
video game go karts and batting cages and all
Oh,
that good
cool.
stuff. And my brother and I, I mean, we all went, but my brother and I were able to hang out, and we shared like a 2-year difference between us, but well, often
Uh-huh.
people thought we were almost twin like because we are
Yeah.
so tight that we again got to jump into go-karts and like race each other and play like we used to play as 7 and 9-year-olds, but we were
Yeah.
right, we're racing around the track in go-karts and banging off each other, and we're challenging each other in the batting cages, just like having that childhood
Oh, yeah.
innocence and fun and frolic as part of our existence in that
Yeah.
moment was so fantastic.
It's so crucial to surviving this crazy world. I think,
Mm.
I get wrapped up in a lot of adulting as we do, and I try to just have as much fun as I can, in a way that's, not crazy expensive for, like, a group of people to do. I love, like, a cheap movie that's, like, $12 in the day, and then also just, like, since my cousin had passed and she was 26, um, there's really something, and I think people who maybe lost somebody that was young, um, in their 20s, it
Hmm.
feels so unfair, and it feels so, I mean, there's so many emotions with grief. That's kind of, like, become at the forefront of my brain, and it's still hard for me to talk about, but it is very clear when something like that happens that you just literally don't care anymore about really, I mean, I can't say I don't care about anything anymore, but you
No,
really
I know what you're
cared
saying.
in
You
things
see
that
what's more
don't,
important.
it's just you don't care about your weight anymore. You don't
Mhm.
care about eating all the right things anymore. You don't care about, keeping up appearances as much. Like, I finally now, like, let my friends come over when my house is, like, messy in my, like, I used to just be, like,
Yes,
so, scared of, like, judgment, or, like, I needed to
judgment.
keep
That
up
yeah, that's
appearances,
mhm.
whether it stems from whatever, but, um and I pride myself on being, like, a clean person, but still, it's like grief
But
really can,
your true friends are the ones that are gonna love you
they
and
don't give
respect you and
a
care
shit.
about you, regardless of how messy your hair is, or your bedroom is, or your
Yeah,
car is, or
they'd rather
any of
you
that.
see you that way and love you that way than, like, me trying all my energy for that day to, like, reverse it.
Right.
So I really am just leaning in, being myself and being a mess, and, like, if I have 2 friends right now, I'm happy to have 2 friends. I don't need 200 like I used to. I've
Sure.
always felt like this town makes you feel like you need a million friends, and I just am happy with the way it is, and, like, whoever shows up for me and whoever I can show up for is, this grief really can change you. I mean,
Mhm.
everyone, I think, that's been through it, whether you lost someone older, or but definitely losing somebody young has transformed my perspective, and, other things matter more now. I mean, it's like,
Well, it's funny you mentioned that because, well, funny and sad, but funny in the sense that I lost a friend in when we were both in our 20s.
mm,
He had just turned 20, barely didn't even
oh
make it
my
to 21,
gosh.
in a car accident. And he was the weird thing was is that or the cool thing was that I only knew him really for like 2 years. Those final 2 years of his life was like when I met him and we connected, and he was one of my best, most dearest friends
Oh my
so
god.
fast, and he taught me so much about life, like you're talking about exactly right now, of it doesn't matter, like materialisms and proper hair, like all this stuff is so not at the most important thing in existence. It's friendships, it's connections, it's he was
Unity.
the kind of yeah, and he was the kind of kid who would like if he had $1 and there were four of us hanging out, like everybody would have a quarter. Or he'd even give up his 25 cents. Like he just was such a down to earth, dirt loving hip. I mean, he was a hippie in a sense, but he was also a metalhead.
Yeah.
So
Oh, well,
he
I love
was like and I took so much from him in terms of the free spirited existence that I always dreamed about being able to live, but never had the courage to do it. He helped instill that in me. And in the ensuing years since his passing, he haunts me.
that.
Like
Mm.
he will mess around with me on a fairly regular basis and
Oh,
hide shit
wow.
in my house. Or if I'm on set, one time he hid clothing, like wardrobe of mine, for a day, and it was
Oh
just
my
like
god. I
he's
totally believe
yeah.
in all this.
Oh, 100%. Like I did a 2 years after he passed away, we did a Ouija board, my
Oh my
ex
god.
and a spiritualist with him, and we made the Ouija board. Okay, this was how mind blowing it was. we did a circle of letters, put a glass in the middle, and all three of us put one finger on the glass, and we connected with him, and the glass would spin around and spell out different words. But as it was doing that, it was spinning under our fingers, and there's no way in the world that we could have done that without. There's no way to fake that, right?
Holy
And
moly.
when we first reached him, I said, "I love you" to him, and he spelled out "effing homo, ha 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 ha," and I'm like, "That's my buddy Dave,"
Oh my God.
and
That
I knew right away.
that is
But
really something.
yeah, and ever since, like he will screw with me. He will hide stuff. He'll hide. We have 5 hammers in this house. I don't know why we have 5, but we have 5 hammers in this house. And I'll go looking for one, can't find any. And then like a week later, one will be on the stove. And it's like, you bastard.
He's just letting you know he's around.
Yeah.
And he's
He
making
just
fun
loves to play around. And I love that. But I hope that like your cousin's inspirational elements of life sounds like it's bleeding into you now, and
she was such a go-getter,
forward.
and she had so much courage and strength, and truly I think that she's telling me to just live my life how I always was, and she always supported me and always cheered me on. She was probably one of my biggest cheerleaders and never put me down, just was like everything you'd want in like a sister.
Sure.
She, definitely sends me signs, which is crazy.
I
But
love them.
yeah, I could write music about her the rest of my life, and I probably am going to
You
because
probably will.
it's so easy and so at the front of my brain all the time. If I'm crying, it's because I miss her.
Mm-hmm.
It's not usually anything else. It's just like stress and work or whatever, traveling exhaustion, and then it's that, and at the in there mixed in is like I just miss her. So I think that my next move will be putting out this project that's ultimately a tribute for her. And just being in your late 20s is so fucking rough, and so if you've lost somebody in your 20s like that, like you have experienced, there's just like you feel too young, and you're just kind of like, how is that fair, or how can I move forward? And now I have to live the rest of my life, which is probably 70 years, 65 years
Yeah, if
of
we're
it
lucky, right?
now. We're lucky, and I've got to navigate this now, and like that doesn't feel natural, because a lot of people, I don't know anybody really directly that has been through that, only like a few friends of mine, and they've been like my life support. But yeah, it's tough.
It's really tough. You're right, and it's the idea that we can draw an inspiration from
Yeah.
the way that they lived their lives, and
Yeah.
what I found actually kind of wildly weird, fascinating to me is that years ago, probably when I made my first movie, so about 18, 19 years ago, I met this guy um, who he quickly became one of my nearest and dearest friends, and he's a musician, he's an actor, he builds he does set construction for the Hollywood stuff that comes east here. I managed his band for a while, one of his bands for a while. Just all like his spirit is exactly the same as my late friend's spirit, and his energy, the positivity, the enthusiasm for every single second of life is. And I'm like, all I could think of was like, did Dave send him to me?
For sure.
To meet so that I could continue, because maybe I was at a point in life where I was in darkness because I was in a hellish. Yeah, and I needed this person and to kind of sweep me out of what I was in and refocus my attention on what was important. And yeah, and so that's pretty weird. And this dude's still in my existence, and thankfully, and I love that how when you break down and look at the way the multiverse operates, and brings you things or takes things away, but leaves you with these impressions in your psyche, it's wild to me. It's
I know.
absolutely wild
I know.
and beautiful in a lot of ways.
It is. It's beauty and pain.
Now, do you play out at all with this music?
I don't yet.
Okay.
First of all, I don't have the time right now because I'm never home. This is like you're catching me finally doing laundry after being away for probably like a month with a couple days here in between.
Nice. I'm honored.
Yes, and those
I'm
days
honored to be with you during the spin cycle.
Oh yeah, I mean, I have the whole week off, so I was like, okay, I got to do some stuff. But so I'm finally doing
Well, that's so weird because I have the week off as well,
Oh,
which
rare.
I haven't had in years.
Wow.
And I'm like, all of a sudden, like, I have nothing to do. What can I do? Oh my God, I can podcast with people. This is great.
Yeah. Yeah, that's great. I mean, I'm so happy I could be on this. And I think, wait, what was the question?
It was about you playing out.
Oh, I haven't, but I plan to for sure. It's just a matter of getting together shows and like where I want to do that. I'm probably going to have some kind of show or like showcase soon, like at Hotel Cafe, which is over here. And then maybe in New York or something. I mean, it's crazy. I go to Canada this week and then I'm in I stay there and then I'm in New York for a couple days for a client and then I come home for a client and then I go back to New York 2 days later. So it's not really like there's a ton of time to fit in those things. That is just like in a hotel room or on a plane, or on set. That's pretty much it. And then like getting dinner by myself. But yeah, I absolutely plan to have shows. I just need to figure out maybe sometime in the fall, like maybe November, October. And I'm really excited, but it does make me nervous, but I have played like a couple open mics and those were really fun and they went well. So I feel like that's a good sign. Like I felt really comfortable after like 30 seconds. I was like, okay, I'm in, I'm comfortable. I mean, my mom did it for a living for years. So I know that,
it's you're genetically predisposed to be able to do it.
Yeah. And I would see her on tour. So there's lots of, I get very comfortable quickly. So I'm excited to do some shows and I'll let you know when I do.
Yeah, please. Definitely. Especially the ones in New York.
Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely. I'm hoping.
Yeah, I mean, like you, I've played a couple open mics myself.
Yeah.
And not my own stuff. I've always like done like covers of
cool.
Grateful Dead songs or whatever. But
love.
It was one of those. I very unnerving in the beginning. To stand there all by yourself with a guitar on your neck going.
It's so crazy.
What am I doing here? This is insane. And then kind of going, all right, blocking it out and kind of feeling what you're
get in the zone.
Yeah.
And like there's no space to fail. I just saw this thing Miley Cyrus posted at like the Disney Legends Award last night. And she was like, she was like, I am just like you guys in a sense, because she was like, I say like a lot. Being from
it's
but she
tubular,
said,
man.
No such thing as failing when you try. Like you cannot fail if you even tried. And I think that's the kind of courage that young people, and that's how I felt when I just think it's a hot topic today for me because I watched that speech of hers last night accepting the award as like a Disney legend for Hannah Montana. And I was like, she gave me the courage to try and like do music. And like I was writing songs when I was little and I just kept them to myself. And she was writing songs when she was like a teenager and hasn't ever stopped. And she's done acting, she's done music.
She's amazing.
She's amazing. And like that gives you courage, no matter what kind of like parents you have. She still had the courage to do the scary thing. And like
and then bust out of that whole Disney mold and go, I'm tattooed, I'm loud, I'm voiced. Like, screw everybody who
There's a
thinks
lot to
this.
say.
Yeah.
And she's
Love
so
that about her.
and she's just, like, one of my faves, so I think probably get a lot of, like, her courage, like, she puts courage into other people's minds, and she said in her speech, "The only difference between me and someone that wants to do this is, like, I just did the scary thing, and, like, all you have to do is, like, try. You cannot fail as long as you try." And she's like, "The only difference is that I'm so scared, but I do it anyway." And she's like, "I'm scared right now, but I'm doing this anyway." And
Yeah.
that's, I think, what, like, keeps me going, and I'm like, "I'm so scared, but I'd rather be doing it than not, because that's
Sure.
just not how I wanna live anymore."
That's a great lesson and great philosophy.
She's great. Yeah,
Absolutely. She's amazing.
yeah.
Absolutely. And I totally get that. Like, from the perspective of as a performer, as a person who wants to be a performer or is a performer. One of the things, like, I mentioned, like, my open mic, I don't sing. Like, I'm not trained. I'm not, I'm not people would not consider me to be a good singer in the classic
I bet
sense.
you're good.
Johnny Cash, a little bit of Grateful Dead. Yeah, I can probably pull those off, but I can't do Jewel. Even though I think I can, as I'm driving down the street singing to her with
Right,
her.
right, right. Of course.
But I went out one time a couple years ago. I always wanted to be in the play Sweeney Todd,
Oh, yeah.
and I went and did an audition and sang a song from Phantom.
So cool.
Bombed it horrifically in a lot of ways, but the fact, like, people around me who at the time were like, dude, I would never do a musical audition because I don't say, but the fact that you did, that's amazing. That's cool. That's,
It's
proud of you, blah, 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 blah. Yeah. And well, I mean, I appreciate that. And but it was like you sit back and go, huh. Yeah. It was scary as hell to stand there in a theater with like 30 people sitting there watching you, many of whom were your competition for the roles, and you're singing, and yeah, so, like, conquering those fears
Oh, yeah. I mean,
is key.
the outcome is not really a testament to what you're trying to do, it's really just doing it. I think that
Mhm.
we care so much about the outcome and, "Well, what if it goes bad?" and, "Well, what if it goes well?" But it's
Right.
like, those don't even actually matter maybe. Maybe it's just the doing it, and then that gives people courage to do what they're scared of, and that might give you courage to do it more and more, or, like, go and try and get singing lessons. Maybe you felt so good about even just performing and singing that you'd want to try and pursue it. I mean, there's so
Mhm.
many avenues that are open to people. I think we just live in so much fear, and every day I'm trying to just grow and get over that fear and work through it. Not get over it, but just work through it.
We're like, take the
Yeah.
fear and put it to good use
Yeah, and just say yes more.
versus debilitating use. Oh yeah. I mean, and that's why I took that gig with you guys, for that shoot.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, I want to experience this. I don't know much. If I knew nothing about commercial photo shoots, but hell, I'll go and learn, and I'll kind of fake it till I make it,
Yeah.
and
Literally,
do
that's
what,
what we're all doing.
you
That's
know.
really what we're all doing.
And that's a wonderful thing. Like, if you could do it and do what it is that you love, and be able to find that passion, whether you're a young kid or an older person. Like, in my case, I didn't really start getting deeply involved until like 20 years ago. So
Yeah.
I was, a little bit older than you are now, but just that idea of it's never too late. I don't think either, to get
No,
started and find that passion of yours,
it's not.
whatever it is, whether
Yeah.
it's, making beaded bracelets and handing them out at shows, or
Yeah. You can do
or
anything.
or anything, anything.
Whatever
And
makes you
that,
happy.
and I love that you're doing all of these different things. Like, you're acting, you're modeling, you're singing, you're writing music. Like, what is it? Is there something that you have yet to try that you really want to try?
Um,
Painting, sculpting, or
Painting
is it not
is
even art? Like, do you want to, like, build a house by hand, which is art.
Painting is
So
scary to me. I remember I tried to learn painting. My partner's mom is an amazing artist, and I'm very intimidated by it for some reason. Like, I do feel like I'm very much a perfectionist, so it's hard because you can do whatever you want with art, but like I have this kind of idea that needs to be a certain way, right? So then my fear just kind of like freezes me. So I do think eventually I want to get into doing more like visual art stuff, but I don't know. I think that for now I just started like really loving being an actor and also writing music. That's like I also was a writer. Like wanted to go to college for writing, but I ended up not going to college at all. But I got
not a
into
bad decision.
yeah, I got into a couple schools for writing, so I know that there's some passion there just in writing in general, not even music. But, you know, I think music tells my story the best way, like not the best way, but the most honest way right now. But I do love just like writing essays, and I have lots of typing like PDFs on my computer that I've saved that are just like thoughts and journal entries, and I journal a lot. And I think eventually I'd like to write a book. That's definitely something that I want to do about like my journey with modeling, and like I think
Well,
there's
that would
lots
be
of
fascinating.
model books that can be misleading, or kind of like there's a different agenda going on, and I kind of just would love to share my story in my own way, and um show the glamorous side and the non-glamorous side, which is always, I think people love to hear about that, because when you're in it, it's totally different, but also at the same time, it weirdly does feel glam. I don't know.
Well,
I'm
it's funny. Like, is it really glamorous? I mean, like we were talking about, like, the day we were shooting, one of the days we were shooting was like 95 degrees,
oh yeah.
and we're cooking and trying to stay warm or hydrated and cool off, and it's like, is this really glamorous?
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah. There's
like
no air.
what people look at it like when you see the photos, or even if you watch a video of a photo shoot or film, you think glitter and glam and everything's cushy and comfortable, and
Yeah,
you
yeah,
know
yeah.
it's generally not.
Right.
You
Or
know,
when you're shooting like fur jackets in 100 degrees for fall,
yes,
and they need the images in a month and a half. Well, that's fall. So they need
yeah.
them now. And you're like, I'm so used to it now, but I think it always blows people's minds.
Oh yeah, like when we filmed Spirited up here in actually in Rhode Island, in Boston. Well, actually in Boston, Hocus Pocus is Rhode Island. But
Uh-huh.
yeah, filming Spirited, there were several scenes that we spent a week in the summer wearing winter wool, 1800s winter wool, to shoot this scene, and it was in the 90s during that week,
That's so rough.
and it was
It's
brutal,
brutal. That's
but
brutal.
so much
But
fun.
so fun. You don't even care.
You know,
Do
yeah.
anything to do it again. That's
Yeah,
maybe the
and we're eating lunch sitting on a sidewalk, like in an alley in downtown Boston, just like,
yeah.
it was great, like, because we didn't want to go inside because it was too hot inside because the air conditioning wasn't working. There was too many people, so it was like, screw this, let's just sit outside,
Yeah. And
catch a
die.
wind somehow. But yeah, it's not the most glamorous world as people think it is. Who don't participate in the industry, but it's also, I wouldn't trade it
Yeah.
anything. Like, I've always said that I've probably worked about 200 different jobs in my life,
Mm.
and I've had, this is now my third career, and
Wow. I love that.
I would not trade this, what I'm doing, chasing gig to gig to gig to acting gig to PA gig to director
Yeah.
gig I wouldn't trade this world, to go back to journalism, to go back to 911, to go do anything other than this.
I understand.
It's
Yeah.
it's it's
I
just
feel the
when
same.
I think.
Yeah. And when it's working and you love it, I mean, a lot of people wouldn't love it, and I think
Mm.
that's okay too. I mean, a lot
Oh,
of people
absolutely.
there at their jobs, and you just kind of gotta do what feels good.
But it's like, but if you're not liking it, like if you're not liking any job, I think whatever it is you're doing, if you don't like working at McDonald's, if you don't like paving roads, make a change. There's always an opportunity to change
Yeah.
and seek out what it is you want to do and make it happen. I think
Mm-hmm.
you're back.
Okay. I just pressed like stop camera and audio, and then I went back on.
Yeah. Okay. It
I
worked.
don't know what happened. It was working for me. I could hear you.
Could you see movie? Was I moving and everything?
Yeah.
Huh. Yeah. You like all of a sudden froze,
Shoot.
and
Well, I'm
then
back.
you got all hi. Welcome back.
I'm back.
Katy, it's so amazing to have you here. I mean, to be able to talk with you. I mean, we've been waiting, trying this for what's it been about? I don't remember when it was we did the shoot, but it was months ago. Yeah.
Yeah, like 3 months.
But I really dig you, and you got such an awesome vibe, and
Thank
it
you,
was
Rick.
immediately noticeable. And when you hopped in the van and would just like immediately chatty, and I'm like, oh yeah, I like this kid. Yeah, she's awesome.
I know we had a blast, and I hope we get to do it again sometime. Maybe with
Yeah, I'd love it. Right? That would be cool. Or maybe we'll make a movie or.
Well, that would be
something.
cool. Yeah, that would definitely be the job.
I'll write something and see
Perfect.
But in the meantime, can we do what links can people find your incredibleness at Spotify and everything else?
My Instagram's Katy O'Kane, KatyOkane. And I have a lot of the stuff I do on there, but my Spotify is just my name, Katy O'Kane, KATYO''Kane. And look out for new music and everything. And hopefully that feature will be wrapped up soon, and I can post about it, and it'll be in festivals or at least a screening.
I want to see Purple. And how do we see the other movie that you did?
I'm not sure, but I think it's on Vimeo. It should be on Vimeo, or you could probably, you know what, just Google Bad at Small Talk short film, and it should just come up either on YouTube or something.
So maybe I'll dig that up and put the link in the notes, show notes for people. And oh, by the way, I didn't tell you this, but we have listeners across the globe.
Whoa.
Which, like I found out the other day, like I got Finland, people in Finland, the UK, and France.
Whoa, I love that.
That have listened to the podcast, which is really wonderful. So if you want to hire Katy and bring her over to Finland for, some modeling or whatever, how does one reach out to you that way? Do they go through Ford or like?
So I'm not with Ford anymore. That's for like 10 years, but I'm with my new agency called Freedom Models, and they're a great. They're a big agency here, and they rep women, and it's very awesome, and they're the best.
Very cool.
I owe them everything. So they're the people that you would email. And you can also reach me in my Instagram, Katy O'Kane.
That's so cool.
But thank
I don't want to let you go.
I know. I know. I need more coffee.
Yeah, I gotta go mow the lawn or something. But
wow, suburban things.
Yes, that's what I do during my downtime. Is like pick up where I left off with the home life stuff.
Awesome.
When I'm not being a pampered actor or
right
or pampering as a production assistant, pampering.
Find me in my trailer.
Going to the store to get apples specifically for.
Right. That's me. I asked for apples.
Yeah, you were such a diva with. I'm kidding.
Can I have an apple?
Absolutely. Be right back. But that's what we do. That's like, we got to make sure everybody is happy. Yeah.
Exactly.
And that's important. And like I said, like the people, those people who are listening that don't work in this industry, what words of insight do you have for them in terms of like finding the right groove in life and enjoying it?
Well, I know that I think I would steal Miley Cyrus's quote. It's just you really can't fail if you try. So just try a bunch of things. Throw, what do they say, spaghetti at the ceiling and see what sticks.
Hmm.
Um, Whatever makes your heart full. I mean, we're not always going to love our jobs. A lot of people don't love their jobs, but if there's things that you can find that make life more you, like set for you and make you feel happy, then, you know, find that and just try, because you can't really fail as long as you try.
Excellent words. I
That's
like
my
that.
quote I stole from Miley.
Miley, get in touch. We'll
Love
talk
her.
about it. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Same. Always. So I'm going to do a closing, but Katie, so it's such a pleasure to have you and talk with you as always. And I look forward to more and hanging out, like getting back in the same geographic space again too sometime and really
Yes.
hanging out. And for those of you listening, thank you so much for listening to the Demonted Pod. And you can get this podcast wherever podcasts are platformed, or most places where podcasts are platformed. And make sure you check out the notes and check out some of Katie's works and follow along with her and find out what kinds of amazing things she's down for in this existence. And we'll catch you next time. Fairly well.
Thank you. Bye, everyone.